I believe it was Mozart that coined the phrase, beauty is in the eye of the beer holder. And there's never been a more true statement than that. Something else that Mozart said that is so beautiful, it's so poetic, is that music is not the actual notes itself. That music is that space in between those notes. And that really stuck with me. First time I heard that, it's just like, it went through my whole body and it stayed there. First time I ever heard that, it stuck with me and it changed the way I think about not just music, but a lot of other things. And I've taken that and I've expanded on that. I've just because, for me, I'm like somebody that I'm a searcher of a lot of things, and I'm always seeking different things in life. And something that I seek is goosebump feelings, electricity, that type of thing. That feeling that you get that just like it gets into your core and it makes you feel good. And oftentimes things that are unhealthy for you can get you there. So looking for things that are healthy for you to get in that zone, I've been able to find it with music. And the way that I personally describe it, it's kind of like an extension of what Mozart said about music being that space in between the notes. So if you continue to open up that space, which is where the music is at, and look more into that space in between the notes, more and more, and open it up and expand it more, and dissect that. That is where I personally find the electricity. That's where I get the goosebumps from. That's where I get that static electricity from. It's deeper into that space. And what it is, it's the inconsistencies. It's the human element that went into making that music. The inconsistencies, the just tiny little bit off timing that you can't get with your ear. But if you open up that space more and more and more and you dissect it, you will see that there's a lot of inconsistencies inside there. And in my opinion, that's what creates the static. And that static is what gets into my soul. And that's what makes me like feel really, really, really that really, really good feeling is when I can find those inconsistencies in between the notes. And that's how that's my own definition of that. And that's why I gravitate more towards a raw, live sound, even if it's not live, even if it's a recording. I like a non-perfect Right now, I'm looking at posters I have. Kurt Cobain, Jimi Hendrix, a female bending over, getting a beer out of the refrigerator. Johnny Cash flipping a bird. A Metallica poster with Cliff Burton on it. Motorhead. I'm looking at those posters right now. And I gravitate towards that. I gravitate towards that, just that raw imperfection that to me is so much better than perfection. I don't have anything wrong with perfection because there's different strokes for different folks. And some people, that's all that they like is perfection. And if you want perfection, then you got to get away from the human doing it. Because the human can't do anything perfect. Doesn't matter how much they keep expanding that space out and trying to find where the imperfections are at so they can fix them. A human will never make anything as perfect as a bot. But that's what I like. And that's what I've always gravitated towards my whole life. The more time goes on, I was born in 1977. So I got to see a few different generations. And I see more of the generations now that gravitate more towards the perfect. And that's fine, that's great. But the more time goes on, there becomes somewhat of a disrespect by the newer generations and a mockery of the older generations as if it's not the quality of something that is just completely created by artificial intelligence and it's perfect every which way you go. It's a perfect square. So I could have said perfect circle, but yeah. So that's my little talk for the day. Because I want to do my part to bring that back. And also I want to share that with generations going forward. I want generations going forward to understand that feeling. They don't necessarily have to seek it. They don't necessarily have to make that their thing, but to understand the feeling that people can get from the static electricity that is in between the notes. Because when you dig deeper, you find that. And that's what I seek, because that's what gives me those butterfly feelings. And I like sharing that with people because there's people who will watch this right now and they've had those feelings. They know what they are, but they just didn't know how they come about. And if that, what I said, can kind of just open up a little bit more for someone and make their experience throughout life better, then I did my part. And I'm not trying to compare myself to Mozart. What I'm saying is I took that quote that I heard and I loved and I got it immediately. And it changed the way that I think about everything. And later I started expanding on that, and it would be a shame if I kept that to myself, right? Because that right there is something that so many people who really are who are music lovers and who need music, because not everybody needs music, and that's fine too. That's totally fine to be. It's fine to be all these different ways. That's the beautiful thing about humans, is that we don't all have to be the same. We're not robots. Robots are robots. Robots don't have the different emotions and different types of feelings that we have. Different desires. They don't have them. We do. That's beautiful. But people who have that same type of love for music, that could totally just like change the way they think about life. And that's awesome. And I would love for many people who are just, they could get those feelings, they understand it, they just have never had it totally, defined. And they will hear that and go, I get it. Now I get it. It opened up new doors. It just changed the way that they are going to view things from here on out. That's so awesome. So anyways, thanks for listening. If that is something that you get, you totally understand what I'm saying, maybe you can share it with somebody and open up more doors for them in life. Because we got to spread positivity, man. Music is about positivity. On the internet, in these last handful of years, it's become a very negative thing, and I'm not gonna acknowledge it anymore. I went through time where I let a lot of things get to me. The negativity. But this stage of my life, I'm not gonna do it. And music is about escaping the negativity. Even music that's just like angry, that's getting it out of you, man. It's all, the end result is supposed to be positive. There's ups and downs in life. On the internet at this point, for some reason, people are taking the negativities in the world, in their life, and they're bringing them into music. They're frustrated with things, so they're taking that out on other people. And like I said, I've seen different generations in different times. I was in my 20s in the 90s. I was a teen in the 90s and in my 20s in the 90s. So I got to see that switch from the 90s to the 2000s. And that wasn't too bad compared to what the switch from like the 2016, 17-ish time to about right now. There's been a major shift compared to the shift that went from the 90s to the 2000s. It's way different. there was still some carryover from the 90s into the early 2000s. But the shift is going, in my opinion, in a negative direction as a whole. And I want to do my part, even if it's just me trying to be positive for me. That's good enough. That's good enough. That's all. I only care about me anyways. But, you know, I'll still try. I'll still try, and I hope everyone else tries too. I just want to spread that positive message, and then hope other people spread the positive message as they want to in their own way. And just keep spreading positivity, and don't expect to get worshipped for it or anything. Don't expect to get anything for it, because it's about you. It's between you and you. It's about you and you and you only, and making you better. And music is supposed to make all of us better. It's supposed to take the negativities and try to detoxify our bodies from them. And I would love, in this decade, I would love to have a little part in reversing where things are going. I would love it. And that has to do with the negative, taking that and just trying to turn it more towards the positive. If I can have a little part in that, I would be very, 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 very blessed to be able to have a little part in doing that. And it would be nice if that shift turned all the way around, and by the time we get to 2030, it's just back to Beatlemania. It's back to the Monkees. It's back to Elvis. It's back to that time, man. Because that time, and you can go back further. You could even go back to the Rat Pack and stuff like that. That, I'm not saying people weren't negative. I'm not saying there weren't negative people around music at that time either. But the people loved the music for the music. They loved the music for the music. And they loved music. And it doesn't matter what genre it is. I like all kinds of different types of music. I like classical music. I like everything that there is if there's soul in it. Any kind of music that has soul in it, for reals, it's soulful. I'm into it. Doesn't matter what it is. I have my favorites, as we all do, but I'm into soulful music. Music that I can find that static electricity in between the notes. If I can find that, I'm into it. So it was nice talking to you. I hope you have yourself a wonderful day. And I hope you enjoy the music